Hey there again, folks. Welcome back to Eric the Unready. Forgot the name of the game for just a second. Slightly embarrassing. But anyway, we're picking up back up where we left off last time. We just got to Mount Spa. And the Temple of the Gods, I think was the name of it. Or Agora of the Gods. Something like that. Of the Gods. Something like that. So let's go west. Oh, hello. I was planning on going in the building, but okay. I guess I won't complain. Man's imagination holds no lovelier sight than the goddess of beauty bathing in the woodland pool. Here she is, her flawless body immersed in sparkling water, her auburn hair floating around her like a halo. Warm sunlight filters down through the trees, striking a golden key hanging from a tree on the western shore of the pool. Not a single breeze disturbs the tranquility of the scene. As the goddess bathes, her languid movements send gentle ripples lapping against the shores of the pond. The quiet sound magnified in the still air of the glade. In the few moments you can tear your eyes from her, you notice that exits lead east and north into the woods. You see a golden key there. Okay. We need the key, apparently. Generations of poets have despaired at their inability to capture in mere words the unearthly allure of the goddess of beauty. I don't see what the trouble is. She's about 5'9", 123 pounds, with reddish hair and a chest that would give a monk a heart attack. Okay. Why are we not having a heart attack then? Confused. I feel skeptical about the monk having a heart attack if we're not having a heart attack and dying at this moment. Okay, so we got the ring. I don't know what we need to do for it, but we'll need to get it. Pool itself isn't all that interesting. It's who's in it that holds your attention. Okay, well, let's talk to her. Swing, swing. Do you always drool like that? Do you like to go out with me next month? Sorry, I'm washing my hair again next month. Nice weather we're having. It's usually nice up here. The breezes are always warm and gentle. Tell me about the key. I don't know anything about it, except it's been there for ages. How come it's so warm even though we're fairly high up in a mountain? Perhaps you have mistaken me for the goddess of brains. She is bathing in the next pool over. Okay. Look behind you, a giant snake. Silly mortal, there are no snakes on this mountain. Could make a joke. I could make a joke about that. Where's your other hand? None of your business. Now put your tongue back in your mouth and be on your way. This has been a titillating conversation, but I'm afraid I must go. Okay, let's just see if we can do it. Kid's on the opposite shore of the pond. You can't reach it from here. Can we ask her to get it for us? Which way did we come in from? I can't remember. There's really nothing else to do here. Passing through the band of trees to the north, the weather quickly changes, growing colder with every step. You climb up the mountainside and soon come to a cave. Nervously, you step inside. This is home of the god of the north wind. Icicles hang from the ceiling and snow lays scattered on the ground. The god himself is pacing back and forth, swinging his arms, stamping his feet, and mumbling to himself. Stepping back and forth, alternately waving his arms and blowing on his hands, he looks thoroughly miserable. Everything you see reminds you that the room is cold, very cold, extremely cold as a walk-in freezer, as cold as an ice cube dropped down your back, as cold as a lawyer's heart. You get it? Cold. Okay, well, let's talk to him. Okay, too preoccupied. I'm assuming we can't take the icicles. A small female voice in your head says, "Be careful, Eric. That stuff is so cold your skin might stick to it. Mom, is that you? You think to yourself, suddenly you hear the wizard's small voice. Excuse me, Miss Unready, but I'm the only small voice allowed in Eric's head right now. Oops, sorry, the other voice says. Well, goodbye, Eric, and don't forget to wash behind your ears. Well, let's... I know something that might can warm them up. Burn icicles with dragon. Oh. Burn icicles with dragon. Managed to melt a few drops, but it's so cold that everything quickly freezes over again. Okay, so we're gonna need a better heat source. Okay. Hey mortal, the god calls, do me a favor and take this note to the palace's gods and give it to Morty. He scrawls out a note and folds it in half, passing his fingers along the edge to seal it shut. He stuffs it in your hand. He turns away, but then looks back and says, "Oh, almost forgot." He waves his hand and mumbles a phrase under his breath. There. You'll be able to get into the palace now. We don't like people to just wander in. Once you've been inside, you'll understand why. It's an image thing. Anyway, thanks a million. Okay, so we could have went into the palace anyway. Okay. The merest hint of disapproval from the goddess is enough to stop you in your tracks. Be not so bold, mortal, lest your impetuosity lead you to grief. Okay. So we couldn't have went there anyway. Okay, so south. Walk up to the facade and then keep walking right on through it. This is a sterile fluorescent lit office dominated by a very functional reception desk, behind which speaks Cleo, the receptionist of the gods. In the background you hear the suppressed hum of activity. Exits lead west, east, and north. Against one wall sits a large trophy case. As you cross the threshold into the palace, the seal of the note magically dissolves and the note falls open. Oh, sweet. Let's read it. Let's go ahead and make a new save. Oh my word. 5! Okay, hit enter, I guess. Picture the guide to look. Above it, the caption says, Valhalla Industries, Employee of the Month. Seems lucky. Feathered serpent costume. Below it is a card that reads, Special award for the goofiest costume foisted off on worshippers. Look at the plaque. Oh my. Oh man, a David Letterman thing? It's funny, I never watched too much David Letterman, but I've actually been watching a lot of late night stuff, old school late night stuff like Jay Leno, Conan O'Brien. I was thinking, I never watched much David Letterman, so I need to see if there's, a lot of David Letterman stuff on YouTube and kind of get caught up, what I missed. Top 10 favorite pranks of the gods. Number 10, closing on the discos in heaven so that angels have to dance on the heads of hens. 9, telling man he was to be the ruler of the earth and then creating women. 8, letting the air out of atheist tires. 7, blindfolding a guy, hiding him for 3 days in a tuna packing plant, then telling him he'd been swallowed by a whale. Number 6, imprisoning a people in the desert, then pelting them on the head every day with stale bread. 5, Dan Quayle. That is definitely a dated joke. I don't even really... It seems like I remember that he wasn't the smartest. Or at least that was his reputation, that he wasn't that smart, Number 4, convincing monks that celibacy is a good idea. Number 3, creating a complete fossil record in a day so that pinhead fundamentalists would have something to be right about. Number 2, getting virgins pregnant without letting their husbands. And the all-time number 1 favorite prank of the gods, David Letterman's haircut. Okay. It's a watercolor of a dry path between two walls of water. The card below it reads, Best Special Effects, The Parting of the Inner Sea. Yeah, I make fun of basically everything there is in this game. Trophy case contains a plaque of cost. Oh, okay. It's a miniature replica of an ark. Below it, the card reads, Lifetime Achievement Award for the most creative response to the world's overpopulation, the Great Flood. It's a rotating trophy that was first given out thousands of years ago. Apparently, guys are really into bowling. Cleo is a lively goddess who waves her hands a lot as she talks. She is fielding incoming calls with the casual efficiency of someone who has been doing it for a very long time. Okay, well let's talk to her. Hi, I'm Eric the Unready, mighty hero. Well, you're half right. I'd like to see Morty, please, and Rick while we're at it. He's a busy guy. He only sees people in business. Tell me about Valhalla Industries. Well, it's Morty's brainchild, really. He was the first to realize. Excuse me. He was first to realize how much money there could be in the god's business. So he sold franchises, established new deity positions, set up a merchandising department. All for a percentage, of course. He plowed some of the profits back into R&D. A couple millennia later, dang it. A couple millennia later, voila, here we are. My coffin made me late on reading that. Why do the guys like bowling so much? Oh, it's just a fad. Give them a few more 1,000 years and they'll move right on to something else. You'd like to go out with me next month. Sorry, I don't go out with mortals. Just when you're getting to know them, they croak. Yeah, you can go back to your cause now. Okay. Well, let's read this note. Morty, you gotta get me out of here. I've been up here in this cave every day for 5 years. I'm freezing my buns off. 2 more weeks and my contract's up. How about it, Morty? You're my agent. Can you give me a cushier gig? I hear Guywood is gonna open up soon. I can handle it, I swear. Hangovers are nothing compared to this frostbite. Yours, North. Okay, now I'm thinking that guy is Rick. Come up. Says Morty, multiple, well, twice. And then talking about wanting to be drunk. The lounge of the guys is a worn-out room that could use a good coat of paint. A broken nectar machine stands in the middle of the room. Behind it, a nectar machine repair god is sitting on a couch. The company bulletin board adorns the far wall. Okay. Machine has a tired, dejected air of a machine that is broken. It looks bored. It's a worn-out couch that must be a couple centuries old. The bulletin board is covered with notices. One of them reads, due to recent complaints, the automatic payroll deduction for life insurance has been discontinued. Fresh cakes for all occasions delivered in 30 eons or less. Call 1-800-DOMINUS. Remember, Dominus delivers. I see it says call here. I wonder if we're going to have to call that number. Oh. I misaimed. When are you going to fix the nectar machine? When I get around to it, chum. When I get around to it. Will the machine be hard to fix? Nah, it'll be a piece of cake. Let's get around to it. It'll only take me a couple of minutes. Is nectar really the choice of a new generation? I wouldn't know. I don't drink the stuff. I just fix the machines. Nectar. Gotta have it. Who's the advertising genius who thought up that one? Okay. Oh, I can go in all directions. Wow. This is a large room filled with robed figures bent over manuscripts that they are painstakingly copying. A thin young guide greets you as you enter. There's a sign here. The attendant laughs. Catola, coming to see Richard. Oh my word. Speaking of dated. Oh man, yeah. Speaking of dated, that was I almost said Rob Lowe. Not Rob Lowe, Rob Schneider. On Saturday Night Live, he did a. That's the character he did way back, 90s, 80s, 80s, yeah, 80s. On Saturday Night Live, on Saturday nights, they would have Saturday Night Live at like 10:30, and then like 2 in the morning, they would do another thing at Saturday Night Live, and it would be like old school, like the show's been around for since the 70s, but it would be like Saturday Night Lives from the 70s and 80s. So I remember watching that and enjoying it quite a bit. As you can tell, I've always been stayed up late at night, even when I was like a kid. The tables are laden with scribes' work. The guide of duplication says, "The Rickinator, examine the tables." There's a young guy who seems completely wrapped up in his work. Richard leans back and says, "Eric, looking at Richard." Okay, let's talk to him. I'll have to get something copied, please. The Ericulator, not reading the signs. Bummer. What happens to the originals of the things that you copy? Ericatola, asking questions. Richard, sounding stupid. The Eric Man, making fun of Richard. Gonna get himself killed if he's not careful. Can't I say just one thing without you parroting it back to me? No. Been nice talking to you. The Rickster, leaving the dialogue menu. Alright. What's the sign? I didn't read the sign. Where's the sign here? There's no sign in the picture. If you copy anything, please give the original of the item you wish duplicated to the attendant on duty. Ricky, examining the sign. Do I have anything I would want to have copied? I have the note. I don't know if I need it copied though. I haven't seen Morty. I guess I could do that. Give a note to. Oh, let's save the game before I do it. It shouldn't screw me up, but just be safe. Okay, so give note to Richard. Richard disappears into the back. He returns moments later and hands you a perfect copy, presumably keeping the original somewhere in the back. Richard scratches his ear and intones, Eric, making copies. Yeah, we'll get away from him. Laboratory. This is a cluttered workshop full of odds and ends. In a sealed counter, you see a rock, a bush, some pills, a pair of sandals, and a trumpet. Stuff. On the counter, you see a machine. As you enter, a white-coated scientist looks up and says, "Welcome, I get so few visitors. Let me show you my latest project." He passes a large machine that is sitting on the counter. This is a prototype of an all-in-one plague machine. Up till now, our operatives had to carry a separate piece of equipment for each plague they wanted to invoke. A staff for snakes, a thigh bone of a sheep for locusts, etc. Now, this prototype is too large to carry, but when the final model is finished, all those separate functions will be combined into one small, easy-to-use device. Let me show you how it works. Just then, an aide sticks his head in the room and says, "You're needed over in the New Worlds lab." Johnson says he dropped the vial and there's a really big bang. Is that just a theory, though? Drat, says the scientist. He gives an apologetic nod and leaves the room. Good thing Tonic doesn't watch these. He'd probably hate me about that one. Machine has a button, a switch, a lever, a knob, and a crank. Okay. Oh, great. Oh, man. That sounds like this is going to be a puzzle. Paraphernalia. It's just a bunch of worthless lab equipment. Look at the bush. A wireframe bush with authentic looking but heat resistant leaves. Gas jets at the base can be lit to make it appear the bush is on fire. Flame-proofed hidden speakers are connected to remote microphone. Perfect for giving covert instructions from a distance. Armor-piercing shell disguised as an ordinary slingshot rock. Useful for small operatives facing larger adversaries. So that's how it happened. Okay. Dehydrated wine pills. Be a hit at weddings. Just drop the pills into the water jugs at the feast, and the guests will never know what hit them. These buoyant sandals contain compressed air in the soles to make walking on water a snail. This trumpet has a high-frequency resonance generator that sets up sympathetic vibrations in nearby walls, causing them to tumble down. See, the thing is, I'm not sure if... I think that probably the people who make a lot of jokes about religion are actually probably fairly religious, because they actually have to have they actually have to know, you know, a bunch of stuff to poke fun of it. This room is stacked floor to ceiling with books and scrolls and stone tablets of all shapes and sizes. Behind a small table is Emily, the diminutive librarian of the gods. You greet the librarian. Hi, I'm new here. Got any good books? Brooks? Of course we don't have any brooks. This is a library. We don't carry brooks or streams or rivulets or anything of that like that. For that matter, we don't have ponds or lakes either. All that water would spoil the paper, and besides, how could you borrow a brook? You can't pick one up and... You break her tirade. Books, I said, not brooks. Books. She stares at you blankly. Oh, that's different. Well, never mind. Manuscripts. Room is filled with tablets, scrolls, manuscripts, books of every size and description. Librarian fusses around for a few moments and then says, you know, we haven't had a mortal in here in eons. I know we have a few books meant for mortals, but I can't remember what they are. Perhaps I can find that reading list. She rummages in her desk. Ah, here it is. She blows the dust off the piece of paper and hands it to you. You can borrow any book you want, so long as it's on this list. I seem to have lost my glasses, so when you've made up your mind, just tell me the title of the book you want. Okay. Salmon list. Oh my. I don't know what we need. This might be a thing we need. This might be the thing we need the copies for. The From Here to Eternity, Paradise Lost, Stairway to Heaven. I thought that was a TV show. The 1 Minute Miracle Worker, East of Eden, How to Scale Mount Spa, Grapes of Wrath, For Whom the Bell Tolls, Setting Up Godom and Samora, Priming the Fountain, Really Great Rituals, The Sacred and the Profane, How to Get a Hold of Some Better Virgins, The Joy of Hex, Holy Smokes, The User's Guide to Incense. Can I just back up? I have to choose one? Oh. That seems like what we might need. Because we need to get that Clint off the top of the mountain, so... Yeah, that might be the one we need. That's the one I'll get. You shout your request at the librarian. Emily wanders off, mumbling to herself. Why I'll write a book about a sick horse is what I'd like to know. And what does the horse's father have to do with it? What? After a while, she returns and hands you a book. Remember, she says, this is a lending library. I expect to see that book back here within 10 minutes. Oh. I see. I see. That's why you have. That's why we need to make a copy so we can keep the book. Ellingmount Pa. Ellingmount's Pa. The case study of hereditary diseases in thoroughbred horses holds your interest for approximately 15 seconds. Okay, so we're going to have to. We're going to have to. Whatever we need this book for, we're going to have to pick something that sounds like what we're wanting. Let's see how it's going to be. Okay. Well, I don't think we need that one. Oops. Okay, let's talk to her. I'd like to read some scrolls, please. Feed some trolls? This isn't a zoo, young man. You certainly have a lot of shelves in here. Elves? Sorry, no elves in here. Why don't you get a hearing aid, you old bats? Hearing trade? Why, no thank you, young man. I don't believe I'd like any fish today. And given that you're on the Mountain of the Gods, home of the most powerful beings on Taurus, I'd be careful who I call an old bat. Why can't I read these other scrolls? Feed geese mother rolls. You're not making sense, young man. Give up, I can't take this anymore. Any lager? No, we don't have any beer here. Lager. Okay, so we're going to need a book from there. And in order to keep it for more than 10 minutes, we're going to have to make a copy of it. I just don't know what book we need. Okay. The list is library property? Wow. You're cheap. Sisha speaks into her headset. I'm sorry, we're not allowed to give out hints on this line. I suggest you call 1-900-PRO-CLUE. Oh, that goes back out to the Agora. There's a lot of stuff in this building. Let me see if I can explain. Every time a prayer comes in for a team to win, it goes onto a tote board. We keep a running tally until the event actually begins. Whichever side has the most prayers by halftime will win the game. That's why Notre Dame is so hard to beat. They've got 1 million nuns out there praying all week. By the time game day rolls around, the other team doesn't stand a chance. You can't go in there. The only people with business for Morty can go in there. I'm sorry, the goddess of fertility is busy at the moment. Wow. Terrible, terrible. Okay, well, what if I give the note to Cleo? Like, I got business. Cleo looks at the note and hands it back to you. Then she yells at the closed door. Morty, someone to see you. She turns back to you and says, he'll be out in a few minutes. Okay, hold your unicorns. Morty will be out real soon. Perception speaks into her headset. Those customs vary from region to region. Please consult your local shaman for the correct ritual for your area. Sorry, there's a new price list for direct divine intervention. You must not have received your copy yet. I'll send the pigeon out to you right away. Okay. Door to Morty's office opens. 2 grotesquely dressed characters emerge. Remember, Morty, they chorus. We're 2 wild and crazy gods. Oh my word. Really, 2 Saturday Night Live references in one bit. They do a slow shimmy out of the front entrance. Morty pulls his arm around your shoulder. puts his arm around your shoulder and guides you into his office. Morty's office is cluttered with tacky bric-a-brac. The walls are crowded with mementos and autographed pictures of him with gods and goddesses. Morty plops into a leather chair behind his desk and says, "Immortal, don't get many of them up here. What can I do you for? Ha ha!" What's on the bottom of his shoes? Okay. Anyway, I'm going in the video here. We'll see what all we can do at the here at the Coliseum of the Gods, the office building of the gods. I can't remember what it's called. Anyway, if you did enjoy, feel free to leave a like. Let me know what you think, and subscribe if you haven't. And see you in the next episode. Later, folks.